Good evening, everyone, and welcome to webinar number 2 for Summer Camp 2025. Thank you all for being here. And as always, just a few housekeeping things. Feel free to put your troop number and where you guys are from in the chat below. So that way we can get an idea of who was with us today. Also, as we go through the course of this webinar, feel free to throw any questions that you may have in there. We will try to answer those live, hopefully get to all of them. If we don't get to your question, always feel free to shoot us an email, and we're happy to address it there. Maybe we'll follow up with you via email as well. So, again, great to have everybody here. We are getting closer and closer to summer camp every day, so we're very excited about that. In fact, we are a whopping, okay, the countdown tracker isn't there, which is normally there, so I went looking for it. Anyways, I think we're somewhere around like 100 and some odd days, 99 days until Cub Scout resident camp, so we'll add a few more days onto that to get to week 1 of Scouts BSA, so we'll take it. Of course, tonight, our main focus is on session registration and making sure that you are prepared when it comes time to register for your merit badges and sessions next week. And for those of you that are unaware or need that reminder again, let's see right here, on Tuesday, March 11th, we will have session registration open for weeks 1 and 2 at 9 a.m. And on Thursday, March 13th, we will have the rest of summer camp open for session registration 9 a.m. for weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. So make sure you're paying attention to that and that you've got your dates written down, all that good stuff, because it's just important to get things moving on that morning. So tonight, we've got with us our standard crowd here. We've got Wesley Warden, who's our council program assistant, one of our assistant camp directors, Ash Stemke, assistant camp director, and Joshua Bodenheimer, our program director. We'll each be going around talking about various things. But the main thing that we're here to talk about this evening is, again, our session registration and making sure that we've got our payments made, that we know what we're doing when it comes time for session registration next week, for whenever your week is up, and making sure that you're as prepared as you can be to get that squared away. It is a little bit of a hectic time, and we know that, but our job and what we're trying to do here is to try to make you as prepared as possible to alleviate any situations that may come up and to be able to guide you along the way. Now, on those registration days, we do have a team here ready to help. I will tell you that we get quite a few phone calls on those days that we're doing session registration. Typically, my phone doesn't go back until on my recent calls. It'll go back to that morning, but no days prior, where typically it's about 3-4 days out right now. So lots of phone calls will be coming through. But the one thing that I will tell you all is when you start doing your session registration, do not panic if something doesn't go right. Just reach out. Give us the opportunity to look at it and look through it. All right, because we do this essentially every day and for many, many years now. And so we can help folks maybe reorganize the schedule a little bit to make it work for your scout that may be something filled up quickly on or whatever it may be. So don't freak out. I know it just goes very quickly, but we're here to help and just, let us know how we can be of assistance that day should you run into an issue. All right. So what we're going to hop into, I'm not going to answer too many questions right off the bat here. I just want to jump into getting into Tenero and making sure that everything's squared away. Once we kind of wrap that up, we will be able to answer a lot of these questions, as we may address several of them as we work through this. But I've got the team on the back side here that are answering questions live in the chat as well. So if you do ask a question, you may see it answered. You just may need to scroll through and see if it had been answered anytime soon. All right. So, team, I'm going to remove you guys off of here as we go ahead and start a schedule. Ash, I may add you back here shortly so you can be my fact checker for anything that may come up. So, All right. So the first thing we're going to do as we get into Tenero is we're going to go to ravenknob.com. Let me get this banner to stop scrolling here. Perfect. And I'm actually going to take this other one off too, so that way we're getting the full screen. All right. So we're going to go to ravenknob.com, and up in the upper right-hand corner right here, all right, we will log in. I'm already logged in, so I'm just going to hit my registration button, and it's going to bring me into Tenero. All right, yours is going to look a little different once you log in. It should just look like this. If you'll give me 1 second. All right, it should look a little something like this. Again, we've got a couple of other weeks listed here, but you should just have one of these bars here that shows your week of summer camp and when you guys are coming. Now, shout out to a lot of units that have gone ahead and entered in their payments, their scout deposits of $150, or sent in a check and started updating those unit counts, so that way you can go ahead and start being prepared as we get ready for session registration. So just to hit on what we talked about the last webinar, which was what do I need to do to get in Tenero, get things set up, is right now you can go in there and go ahead and make your deposit payments. Each scout will need a $150 payment in the system to allow you to register for your sessions. Okay. One thing that I would like to mention, it's, you know, you're going to have 12 scouts that come to summer camp, but you might end up at 15, but you've only got the money for 12 and you've only paid for 12. I would recommend that your number be whatever it is to match the deposit that you put in. Okay. So if you know you got 12 scouts coming, you got their schedules ready, you might add 3 later on. All right. Just leave it at 12, add the 3 later. Okay. You do not have to have all of your kids in here right now. Okay. You've got some time. You got until somewhere there in April. I think it's April 15th. I don't have the date right in front of me, but that's when we typically like to have all of our numbers in the system. Given that, I will like to mention that I know a lot of troops do crossover at different times, things of that nature. If you have kids that want to come to camp, bring them with you. Shoot us an email. We'll adjust your numbers. We'll make it happen. But in terms for us, we like to have those initial numbers as quickly as we can. So that way we're ordering enough materials for a lot of our sessions and making sure that we have what we need on hand to be able to do what we need to do. So, all right, back to Tenero here. All right, right now we were in the event screen, and you can see that I've already put in my my 5 scouts. I've got 2 leaders coming and 1 half-week leader. All that's put in. If you need a refresher on how to do that, you can hit this Manage My Spots button, and you can manage those right here. Okay, up, down, add to, whatever you need to do. All right. So just click on through. All right, I've got that done. So what I need to do now is, I don't think that I have done this yet. Maybe I have. I'm going to pull an invoice. Let's see what I've paid already. So everybody's able to do this, pull an invoice. So, yeah, looks like I made my $750 payment for my 5 scouts. So that means, hey, I'm good to go. I am ready to register for merit badges on my given day, either March 11th or the 13th. All right, so what's the process now? How does this whole thing work? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to our participant section, and we're going to click on youth. All right. Once we are there going to pick out the scout that we have coming to camp. All right, so let's say we've got Laura Colonna. She's coming to camp. And if you remember, I sent out a email a couple times about a little video that I did off to the side explaining some of this. But those of you that have gone ahead or will put in names to the system, there's a couple of fields that we need filled out to be able to register for summer camp. All right. Those are, obviously, we need the name, we need the date of birth, we need the gender, all right, and we need a shirt size. Those are the things that we need in the system before it'll let you register a scout, okay? So I've got that stuff in there already. I've already uploaded it, so I'm going to hit next. This is just confirming, yep, I'm taking one of those youth spots. And as it loads, sometimes the system moves a little slower, sometimes a little faster. All right, now I can start registering Laura here for her merit badge sessions. All right, so anytime you click on a session, for instance, if I click on Raven Scouts right here, session 101, it is going to eliminate any conflicts that may happen with that session. So Raven Scouts, it lasts all morning, so I still have sessions 4, 5, and 6 left over. And so those are the only sessions left available for me to pick through. All right. Now, we've had the question a lot of times, what are these session codes? What are these codes that we see on the program grid? Well, all of those are in here. And what it does is it just makes life a little easier when you are trying to queue things in. So what I like to do when I'm plugging in Scouts into the system is I like to hit the Control F or Command F button up here. All right. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to find that session really quickly. All right. So I want to do session 103. Actually isn't 101. So that's Raven Scouts. Going to sign up for that. All right. Then we're going to go type in session number 804. Sorry, 8 something. All right. It's a bad example for me because I didn't memorize the codes ahead of time. My apologies. But as you can see, you can go in here and you can type in these session codes and it makes life a little easier. All right. Or you can just search for it. Say, I want to search for personal management. And it gives you the option to pull those up. Okay. So once I go ahead and I get Laura Kate all of her sessions in place, all right, she's taking Raven Scouts in the morning. We're going to take leatherwork in session 4. Let's scroll down through here. We're going to take reptile and amphibian study at 5 and nature in spot 6. All right. So you will not see these things right here. Just as a heads up, this is just my administrative rights. But what you can see over on the right side of the screen are the sessions that are in the system for Laura Kate. Now, what you need to know is that when you click on these, it does not save anything until you check out of the system. All right. This is the most important thing that we are going to talk about tonight, and ensuring that your registration day goes smoothly is the checkout process, because it is tedious and it does take a few minutes. I know every registration system has their ups and downs in the way things work, but this is the way that it works with the Tenero system. So I want to make sure that everybody is clear on this. All right. What I'm going to do next is hit the next button. All right. It's going to pop up with this screen right here, and I'm going to hit complete. All right. While complete sounds really good, and I would argue for all of you on this, while complete sounds really good, it does not lock in those sessions for Laura Kate. All right. As you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, right around where that StreamYard logo is. All right. So that duck does a really good job covering this up every year. So you can kind of see there's the number 6 there. All right. In my cart. What does that mean? That means I have stuff in my cart that is not saved. Okay. If you go to Amazon, you got one of those lightning deals on like a sweet, I don't know, Jackery box that you want to use for camping. And it's got like a $300 sale going on. You add it to your cart and you're like, I'm going to come back. I'll be back in an hour. I'm going to check that thing out. Well, you come back, the lightning deal sold out and you missed out on that great deal. All right. That's the same way this system works. Until you check out, it is not yours. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit checkout. All right. We're going to go down here and we're going to hit place order. Okay. Now, Laura Kate is confirmed for those sessions. Okay. As you'll notice, there's nothing in my cart in the upper right-hand corner. Absolutely nothing. Okay. As I scroll down, I can click on Laura Kate's name, and lo and behold, there are all of her sessions ready to go. One other thing that you can look at right here is there'll be a cart icon that will show up next to the name as well. So that's something, another indicator like, hey, I need to check out. I will tell you, on session registration day, I would start with the sessions that are likely to fill up fast. All right. If you have any scouts that are participating in the ATV program, shooting sports programs, those are the ones that tend to fill up very quickly. Okay. So I would encourage you, don't wait and add those kids in the system until, towards the end or whatever it may be. Go ahead and get in there quick. I will tell you that you will have kids that want to take the ATV program that will not get it. I am limited in the number of ATVs we can ride at one time, which is 8 participants. Okay. That is a number not set by Camp Raven Knob. If it was up to me, I would have 100 kids in a session to make sure that every kid gets that opportunity. But unfortunately, we don't have that luxury of being able to do that due to the regulations in which we're set, are set for us. So make sure you understand that. Always make sure that you have backup sessions for your scouts. Okay. Always have backup sessions just in case things get, taken up quickly. One of the things that I would like to show you, if it's not there now, it will be here in the next few days, and I'll send an email out about it. Which is, yep, and it doesn't look like it's there right now. So I apologize for that. All right. Right here in this screen on the website, which if to get to that, it's just the Scouts BSA Summer Camp tab. All right. There will be a button that'll pop up in here. We took it off because it was showing last year's stuff and there was a lot of confusion. It'll be called Session Availability. Okay. So once you get working through things and maybe you need to rebuild a kid's schedule just because something got booked up and you need to go back to the drawing board, there is a button here where you can click on it and it'll take you to your specific week. You can click on week 1 and you can scroll down through there and see which sessions still have availability or not. Okay. You can also see that as you add scouts in. So just as another example here, we're going to add Thomas Lawson. All right. You can see that I have all the required fields. I have the name, I have the date of birth, I have the gender, and I have the shirt size all entered in. All right. I'm going to hit next. All right. Yes, I'm zoomed in. Hit next again. And here I will be able to go ahead and sign up for Thomas's sessions. So just an example, he's going to take search and rescue and emergency preparedness. We're going to take art. All right, let's do senior Raven Scouts in the afternoon. And we'll take Miles Swim. Okay, hit next, hit next. All right, as you can see again, I have stuff in the cart. You can scroll down and see that Thomas beside his name, there's stuff in the cart. Okay, so there you go. We're going to hit checkout and enter. All right, so those are locked in for Thomas. Okay. But one of the things you can do, if you need to go in and rework a schedule, you can hit the manage registration button, hit edit registration, and this will allow you to go back in and change up any Scouts merit badges. So I want to take off emergency preparedness. I want to go back in here and add swimming, add camping, and it's done. Okay. So that's something that you need to know how to do, is going back in there and reworking that just in case. And again, guess what? Those changes that we just made aren't locked in, but it's just for the changes we made, not for everything. All right. So I do want to answer this question. Do you have to check out after each scout? My answer to that, if it is on the morning at 9 a.m. on the morning that you're starting to register, absolutely check out after each scout. I know it takes a few minutes or, a few seconds to do that. And I know it can be tedious doing it over and over again, but that is what we recommend you do. You don't have to, but I recommend you do it. Don't go put your, 30 kids worth of sessions in and forget to check out. So we know we're going to have a lot of units that do that. I hope that everybody here tonight is listening to those very important words, which is check out often, as many times as you can. If you recall the last webinar, we had about 103, 104 people on. Currently, we have 55. So there's going to be a lot of folks that maybe joined on that last webinar that is going to miss that key detail. But we will continue to push it out as much as we can. All right. So same thing with adults. I do want to go over this really quickly. If we want to go ahead and add our adults in, all right, you'll see that you've got the youth. We're going to add our adult Nate Todd in. All right, adults require a little bit different form fields to be filled out. We've got first name, last name. All right, I need a gender, a shirt size. I need an email and a phone number. Okay, I don't need a date of birth. I don't need anything else down through here. I need first name, last name, gender, shirt size, email, phone number for all of our adults. And there's really not a big rush to sign your adults up for anything, with the exception of Wilderness First Aid does fill up rather quickly, but we will talk more about that here in just 1 second. So again, I'm signing up Nate Todd. He is going to be one of my full week leaders, not my half week, but my full week. We're going to click on that. And this is the option where you can go in and sign up your adults for a lot of the sessions as well. You do not have to pay any money up front to sign your adults up. All right. I see that question just pop up. You do not need to put any money down for your leaders. Okay. So as we've talked about, as you've seen in our leaders guide and program guide, we do have lots of programs that are available for our adult leaders. You got Red Cross, you got level 1 climbing instructor. They can attend Cripple Creek for the week. They can attend Rampage for the week. Here's some other training sessions that you're able to attend. We've got Wilderness First Aid, Mile Swim, IOLS, CPR, disc golf, free swim, mile swim again. So if you're coming to camp and as an adult and you don't feel like you have enough to do, all right, I promise you're doing it wrong, because we will make sure that you've got something to do throughout the week. All right. But go ahead and sign up for this. If you're an adult and you want to participate in the Rampage program, all right, those spots are somewhat limited. However, when we have adults attend, we will increase that cap, because all it does is help us have more eyes and more supervision across the board. So that's something to remember. So I'm going to sign Nate up for level 1. And then while I'm doing that, since there are some sessions that are still available, I'm going to, instead of sitting around camp all day, I'm going to just participate in the disc golf experience. So that's a good time. Get to go off site, play a little disc golf, enjoy disc golf course at camp. All right. And what we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and check out. Okay. It'll become muscle memory after the first couple, I promise. And I do want to reiterate this again. Check out often. Don't panic. If you get into a situation, all right, give us a call, shoot us an email, okay, and we will work through it. All right. It may take us the day to get through it, but I promise you, when we get done on the 11th and the 13th, our job is to make sure that, hey, we've taken care of everybody today, because we know these are stressful days and we know that everybody needs to get this taken care of. So, we will take care of you the best we can. It may take us a few hours to get to it, but I promise you, if a session fills up, it can't fill up anymore. Okay. So that means it's not going to, there's not going to be a wait list. There's not going to be anything like that. All right. There are some sessions that we do have the ability to say, oh man, really didn't think that was going to fill up that way. We can go back. We can maybe look at extending the cap a little bit. But there's some sessions that we really cannot do that with, where we're stuck to certain ratios and things of that nature. All right. All right. One thing that Wesley wanted to remind everyone about is that those of you that are sending a check in, all right, you need to go ahead and get that in the mail as quickly as you can. Should it be put into the mail and not be here when you're scheduled to, start merit badge registration on next Tuesday or Thursday, give us a call, shoot us an email, all right, and we'll work through that whole deal so we can get you set up to register for sessions that morning. Okay, so just let us know and we'll be able to work with you. But definitely get those checks in the mail. We've had a lot of checks coming in. For those of you that were on the last call, you heard our plea. We do not pass those credit card fees and e-check fees over to you as the customer. We absorb those as a convenience for you all. However, those fees cost us a substantial amount of money every year. And so if you would like to send a check to the Old Hickory Council, it will save us literally thousands of dollars, which will then in turn be able to, hire another staff member, have better equipment at climbing or at shooting sports. It allows us to do more with what we're getting. Okay. So rather than 3% of everything you go to just goes to the bank. All right. That does nothing for nobody here. Unless you're a banker, I'm happy for you, but it doesn't help us here at Camp Raven Knob. So if you want to send that check in, feel free to do it. I've been overwhelmed actually with the folks that have adhered to that this year. But if doing the e-check, the credit card, whatever, it does work for you guys. We're not telling you have to do it one way or another, but it definitely helps. All right. All right. I'm going to bring Ash back on. Ash, is there anything that I maybe missed on this end that we need to hit here?
There was one or two things that have come up in the chat as well, but I'll go ahead and mention those here that are related to what you talked about. It is correct that the adult programs, you can register for those at any point between now or between the opening of registration day and the summer. The only exception to the adult registration thing, which was mentioned in one of our comments on the chat just now, is that if you do have any adults interested in taking the wilderness first aid class, that course costs $125 and that payment is required up front. The main reason for that is we have very limited number of spaces in that session. And so we want to make sure that anyone who signs up for that class is actually planning to show up. But with all of the other adult classes, you can add and drop them as you like from opening of session registration all the way until when you're at camp. In fact, you don't even have to sign your adults up in advance necessarily. We encourage you to, as it helps us with planning and things like that. But with basically all of our adult programs, except for Wilderness First Aid, we invite walk-ins for basically all of those.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ash. We actually just added this Wilderness First Aid session last year during 2024, and we added it after this time period. And so that payment upfront piece, I would like to just show you what that looks like. Just in case you're trying to, boot, scoot, and boogie through something. So we're going to go in here and we're going to edit Nate's registration. All right, we're going to remove these things. We're going to scroll down till we find Wilderness First Aid. All right, next. And so you see right there, it just hopped to that, but let's see what this says.
Yeah, if you try and check out, it probably will throw an error.
It may let me do it since I'm an admin. So,
yeah.
I just thought about that. It's probably going to let me do it since it's logged in from administrator role. But what it's going to do is it's not going to let you proceed until you pay $125. So sorry if that was confusing.
And then one other thing regarding the sessions that tend to fill up relatively quickly. I know Hunter mentioned ATV a good bit. Basically, the sessions that tend to fill up that we would recommend you registering I almost said students. I'm a college professor, but something your scouts register them for early would be things that involve equipment that we may have limited numbers on. This means things like boats and rifles and pottery wheels. Those courses tend to have limited space that we can't necessarily expand just due to what we have. In things such as reptile and amphibian study or citizenship in the nation or art or basketry or something, we've got plenty of space and plenty of open flexibility with how many scouts take those sessions. So those are not necessarily the priorities, but things like high adventure, shooting sports, sometimes some of the afternoon sessions at aquatics tend to fill up, particularly if you're looking at swimming merit badge in the middle of the afternoon or something like that. I fully endorse going to aquatics in the morning. I think it's a great time to be there. Things are less crowded and rowdy. And anyway, there's a lot of flexibility with that, though.
Absolutely. So one thing that I do want to mention is that we get the question quite a bit. Can we have multiple leaders in the system doing this at once under the same account? The answer to that question is yes, but I highly discourage you doing it just because while one person could be adding, one person could be checking out. And what it will do at times, it'll like freeze up the system. All right. And that'll cause a headache for you and the other leader that's working on it. And so it makes it a pain and it's not the easiest. So I wouldn't recommend it. It is possible, but again, I strongly don't recommend it just because it is a little bit of an issue. I do want to explain this. I did make a video the other week. There's another video out there when I was explaining the form fields that you need and how to understand the program grid. I would like to just make sure we're hitting this home. So let's just go through that real quick. We're going to go over here to Leaders, Guides, and Forms. I think there's another camp that does their session registration on the same night every year. So first Monday, because I was watching the webinar from last year and it was slow then too. So, all right, we're going to pull up the program grid. All right. Let's explain this really quickly so everybody knows. All right. We are set up to where you will attend the same sessions Monday through Friday. Okay. So if I go in here and I sign up for rowing merit badge right here, 351, I'm going to attend rowing merit badge from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all 5 days in a row. All right. When I sign up then for kayaking, all right, I will attend kayaking from 10 to 11 every day. All right. If I'm signing up for something like American Red Cross Lifeguard, I will attend American Red Cross Lifeguard Monday through Friday all day long. All right. If I'm signing up, let's give an example of a 2-hour class, pottery and sculpture. I will attend pottery and sculpture um, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11. Okay. Same thing with our half day classes. If I scroll down here, we'll look at some of those. If I'm attending climbing, I will take climbing Monday through Friday all morning. Okay, so that's 9 to noon. All right, there we go. So hopefully that explains that very quickly. All right, but what I am going to do at this point is I want Wesley to do some explanation um, on looking at um, our age restrictions and our override process to make sure that everybody is clear with that. So Wesley, go ahead.
Sorry, looks like I was muted there. Hey, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well. Again, just a couple quick things that typically come up, especially question-wise around this time, is what do the ages mean right out next to the program guide? We're going through and looking at sessions, and I've got a kid that, turns 15 or 14 in a week, but really wants to take citizenship of the nation. Can we make that work? The answer to that is it depends on the merit badge, but mostly yes. We put these recommendations in not to be difficult, but to, and what is in our experience, would make for a successful week for your scout. This is what we have observed over years of doing this. What type of scouts, what age scouts are successful in these merit badges. Take a class like Citizenship in the Nation or Citizenship in the World. We found that it's easier for scouts to complete that merit badge when they are a little bit older. Obviously, not every kid is the same level of maturity at various ages, and we understand that. So if you feel like your scout can handle taking Citizenship in the Nation or Citizenship in the World or something like that, is mature enough to do that, then we can put them into that session. Real quick before he goes to the process of how to do that, sessions that we cannot override for. That is lifeguard. We cannot grant age overrides for that. ATV, we cannot grant age overrides for that. And Cripple Creek, we do not tend to give those as well, or Rampage. Was that what you were mentioning? Is that what you're thinking of, Hunter? Okay. So ATV, Lifeguard, Rampage, Cripple Creek. Those are the ones that we do not override. And there are various reasons for that. But those are the ones that we can't work with. All right, Hunter, if you want to show them, bring up the form. Now, from a registration standpoint, while he's pulling that up, go ahead and click on that. So you're going to go to this age suggestion override green button. It's right under leaders guides and forms, right underneath our leaders guide and program guide. Once you do that, you're going to put your scout's name, your troop number, and council, just because we do sometimes have troops that have the same number. I think we have like 4 troops that are 505 all in the same week this year. So we're looking forward to that. But make sure to put your council in there as well so you can tell us apart, which week you're coming to camp, and then it will ask for the full schedule. The reason why it will ask for the full schedule is the system will pick up on if you are trying to register a scout for a Citizenship in the Nation that does not meet the age requirement. It will not let you check out. Okay, it will not let you check out. So we have to go in with our administration accounts and put in their whole schedule. All right. It will allow us to check out. It will not allow you to check out if your scouts do not meet the age requirement. Going forward, let's say, 1 month down the line, your scout wants to change their schedule a little bit. You'll need to reach out to us to do that, again, for the same reason. If you try to go in and edit their schedule, it will not let you check out if they are scheduled for sessions that they do not meet the age recommendation for. So if you want to make any changes for those scout sessions, you will need to email us and let us know. But yeah, so again, if you feel like they are mature enough to handle this, we trust your judgment. You know your scouts more than we do. But again, these are just the recommendations that we think we have found to be what leads to a successful week for your scouts and your troop as well. So just keep that in mind as you're going through these.
Yeah, Wesley, one little tip that I will gladly add in here. Let's say, hey, I forgot that it was going to do this for a particular scout, whatever it may be. What you can do is go ahead and add them into the sessions that you're not going to have an issue with. You can always plug in a free session during the time that you're going to have that age conflict and just be able to move on and go ahead and confirm them for the rest of their sessions. All right. That's a pretty sweet and easy way of doing it. And just to make sure that we're being clear on how to do that, let me just back up really quick, and I'm going to plot back over here to the registration system. All right. We're going to go here to Laura Colonna, and we're going to edit her sessions. So let's just say that, with her sessions that we know we want to add her to something that's going to have an age recommendation such as woodwork, but we know the system's not going to let us. What you can do is just go ahead and add a free session there. All right. And we will go back in, remove that free session, and add the session that we need to there. Okay. That's a quick way of getting things done that will help maybe prevent some hiccup or delay in this process come next week.
Yeah, and I think there was a question about that in the chat as well. I was answering questions, so I don't know if you covered this while you're going over it, Hunter. But if you're trying to get some of your older scouts signed up for those high traffic merit badges, you can go ahead and sign up for those and then fill in free sessions and then go back afterwards and put in the less popular, that sounds bad, less frequented, more space merit badges that they're wanting to take. So you can do that as well if it'll help you speed up the process.
And that is the ultimate trick of the game, and we're not going to hide it from anybody on how to get that done. So if you want ATV, your best option for this, whatever two particular kids are, 3, whatever it may be, go in, add them. All right. Go ahead and just add them to that session, hit free session, and check out. All right. And we'll go back and fill them in on the rest of them later on. So do want to answer this question right here. So if I have 10 scouts, I need to pay the $150 per scout before registration day in order to register. That answer to that question is yes. You do need that deposit in before the system will allow you to register. All right. And again, if you have any issues, hiccups, something's going crazy on your end and you want to all be there, just pick up the phone and give us a call and we'll talk things over. Okay. All right. Wesley, you done on your end?
Yeah, I think so. And again, you can turn that form in just by scrolling to the bottom of it, and it should say submit.
Yeah.
And again, that is at the Leaders Guides and Forms page under Leaders Guide and Program Guide.
There's one more thing I got for you. Transportation. Okay. Transportation.
Oh, yes. Okay. If you are going to utilize our transportation pickup services, so if you are coming via train or plane, or one person mentioned Greyhound bus, we'll pick up anywhere, but we'll pick up from any transportation. We have a form we want you to fill out, and this helps us build our schedule of pickups and drop-offs and things like that. So go to Leaders Guides and Forms right there under our Scouts BSA Summer Camp. Right next to that age selection override or age suggestion override is a transportation pickup request. All right. That is going to ask you information like how many people are you bringing? When are you going to be attending? When are you arriving? And when are you departing? and then finally, where are you coming into? Again, this allows us to just build our schedule, so that way we can be prepared to know, hey, we have to pick up X amount of people on Saturday at 5:30, and X amount of people at Sunday at 9:30, and they drop off afterwards. So those details, again, if you haven't booked those train or flights or whatever, I would recommend go ahead and getting on that. Remember, always call them over the phone. They know tricks and tips on how to save you money that you may not always find online. So please fill that out as you get that information as well. And we will be able to help you with that. Sorry, I saw a question while I was talking.
I really think that Amtrak should sponsor us at this point. I mean,
we should. We are technically Amtrak influencers.
Yeah, for real. So put us on the screen. Let's go. All right. So just wanted to answer a few questions here that I see popping up. We've got about 19 more minutes. We just got just a real couple of more topics to talk about. We'll add Josh back on the screen here, but talking about transportation, can we bring a trailer and where should we park it? Your trailer is welcome to park in the campsite. All right. All of our campsites, you will be able to park your trailer in. All right. You'll be able to drive it to your campsite and park in it. When it comes to parking at Raven Knob, we do not have a designated parking lot. A lot of camps have a designated parking lot. It's kind of off-site or in a specific place. Our parking lots are just kind of anywhere and everywhere for the most part, but we do have designated spots. Once you get to camp, we'll make sure that you're getting in a spot. But I promise you, your car will not be very far away from you, so that way you can check in on it. If it's a little warm one day, and you might want to go take you a little nap in the AC, so you won't be too far away from cars. All right. This is another great question. When do we need to pay for merit badge or experience specific fees? Those fees we're not looking for until your final payment. Okay. So nothing that you need to pay very quickly. All right. So I'm just going down through here. I think that the guys here have done a great job of responding to.
There was one more question about how do I go in and change the free sessions. So if you
yeah,
session, you go change that.
Just real quick, I mentioned that just a little while ago, but if you wanted to take those sessions out, it's no different than just changing a merit badge schedule to begin with. Click on the scout's name, manage registration, edit registration, click. All right, remove, and then add the session in and keep on moving. All right. But again, always remember to check out. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to pass the baton over to Ash. If you will talk to us a little bit about our provisional scouts and what we have for those scouts that maybe can't come with their troop or want to come a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll pull up my screen here so you can see that. There we go. All right, so from our main Raven Knob web page here, what I'm going to talk about is the Provisional Scout program and also our Raven Repeat program. You can get information about this by going here under Scouts BSA Summer Camp over to Provisional Scouts and Day Campers. A Provisional Scout essentially is a scout that attends camp for one reason or another without the rest of their troop. Sometimes this is the case that maybe a troop decides to go to a different camp, but a couple of scouts from the troop still want to come to Raven Knob by themselves or with a buddy or something. Or sometimes it's because troops come to Raven Knob and their kids have so much fun that the scouts want to come back for an additional week. And this page will have some information about that. So provisional scouts here, camp scouts who are attending a different week from their troop, or scouts who want to attend maybe a different thing, or even for an additional week. The registration process for provisional scouts works slightly different than a full unit or a full troop coming. Essentially, to do that, you would scroll down and just fill out this form right here on this exact web page that has some information about your scout's sort of identity. And then from there, it asks other questions such as if you're coming as a provisional, and then which week and what classes you'd like to take and how much that's going to cost. This all does require an upfront payment. You just go ahead and pay for everything right then. And I'll talk about how that works as well. I think sometimes we get questions about, if I send my scout to camp by themselves, who do they stay with? How does that whole process work? And I know every camp kind of runs that a little bit differently. Typically at Raven Knob, whenever we have provisional scouts, which we do every single week, we get some number of scouts coming without the rest of their unit every week. We place these scouts in a campsite with other established troops that are already in camp. There are several troops in particular that we tend to rely on for this, but these are often local leaders or just other troops that have been coming to Raven Knob for a long time, with leadership that we've known for years, that we trust to take good care of our provisionals and whatnot. And so this gives the scouts a pretty typical camp experience. They get to live in a campsite with other scouts their age, with adult leadership there in the campsite. And they travel around camp, go into their sessions or whatever it might be, and get to participate in all the meals and campfires and things like that. But their host troop essentially becomes a little home away from home for them, which is quite nice for the week. I do want to mention our Raven Repeat program as well, which is what this is talking about right here. This is for scouts that want to attend Raven Knob for a second week. One cool thing about coming back for a second week is that you get a discount. The base price for the Raven Repeat participants is $315, which is a pretty significant chunk of change down from the first or typical week of camp. So if you have any scouts that maybe they're doing merit badges one week, but they really want to go do maybe their Red Cross lifeguard a different week, or they're doing climbing an ATV one week, but then they really want to go get some merit badges a different week, or whatever it might be. Or maybe they're doing an Eagle required week and a go have fun week, or whatever it might be. We frequently have people come for Raven Repeat. The registration process for that is the same. You still go through this form right here, and we'll kind of get that worked in for you. But that's always an exciting thing. We typically make little promotional videos for that at some point over the summer. And that week doesn't have to be the one right after. It could be a completely different week of the summer. Sometimes we have people come for the Raven Repeat week first, but that's maybe a little atypical. But certainly quite a possibility for any scouts that maybe want to come to camp by themselves or an additional week.
Excellent. Thank you, Ash. I appreciate you going over that for us. Ash, I may have you keep sharing your screen, actually. Josh may need it. Josh, you want it? Sweet.
I can do that.
All right. Josh is just going to go over real quick, making sure everybody knows where our guides are, all that good stuff. So, Josh, take it away.
So there is one specific area that I'd like to look at. If you'll look at the Scouts BSA camp or summer camp, and then go down to leaders, guides, and forms. So as soon as we open that, there's going to be 3 or 4 guides that show up that are going to give you majority of the information that you're going to need to know. So first, that leaders guide is going to be your general information and everything that you need as a leader going into the summer. With registration, anything on how camp is going to run, what all you need to know, along with these webinars. This is going to be one of your main tools to answer your questions through the summer. Scrolling through here, you can see kind of all the tentative stuff, rules, regulations, what you're going to need. And that's going to be, like I said, one of the most important tools. Ash, if you'll go to the next one. Next is our program guide. This is going to have a little information on all the areas, including all the different merit badges, along with what twilight activities are included, when everything's happening. This also has our program grid, along with all the merit badges that are offered in the area. It also goes over the ATV experience, climbing experience, everything of that nature as well. Ash, yep. Next is our parents guide. This is going to be an important tool to be able to send and or recommend to those parents who may be sending their scout to camp for the first summer and may have a few questions on what they need to do with medical forms, medication, food allergies. A big thing is going to be a packing list, so they make sure that they're sending their scout with everything that they need to be comfortable. Let's see, as we have there. Hunter, you have anything?
Yeah, I want to add one thing to this. In the past, I've recommended in here for like the trading post, if they wanted to send their scout with like a reloadable gift card or something to that nature. The gift card that I've listed in there actually doesn't allow you to like reload it so that parents can keep track of the balance of it. I have something new that I'm going to add in there that I've done some little bit of research on. So, if you send your scout to camp, oftentimes like Sunday, Monday, they're hitting the slush puppies pretty hard. And sometimes they may go a little bit overboard with their slush puppy purchase, but you want to make sure that they have the opportunity to get a sweet shirt or whatever on the way out towards the end of the week. So we like for parents to be able to, if they want to, keep their kid up, keep them with a couple bucks in their pocket so that way they're able to look at it. But yeah, it recommends a vanilla card now, but we're going to change that over to something different that actually allows parents to do that. So, but that's definitely what we recommend. Take Apple Pay, Samsung Pay or whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I'm an Apple user. I'm not 100% sure, but we take all major credit cards as well. So anyways, all right, back to you, Josh.
That program guide is also a good tool for going back to the program guide for any scouts that have ideas of what they want to take. If you have scouts that are not sure, this can be a good tool to kind of show them what we offer in just one swift, easy document. Last is that Rampage guide. So Rampage being our high adventure program-esque, it's going to give you a tentative schedule of what's going to happen for these scouts over the week, since they are going to a different area outside of camp. This is going to give you an idea of what all they need extra, kind of what they're doing. I know they're spending a day on the river, or they have days on the river, climbing, doing everything like that. This just gives you a tentative overview for those who are more interested and want to join that program. This will kind of help give you the information that you need. And then, Ash, if you'll go back to that and then scroll down here in the blue, are a bunch of other forms that take you directly to different things instead of having to scroll straight through that program guide. Like example, the camp map and medical forms, anything like that. Those are just a faster way to get to it, so you don't have to try to look through the program leader's guide or parent's guide.
Sweet. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you going over with that. As we wrap up, we actually have our Cub Scout webinar here in a second, but we just had a great question that I appreciate being asked. How big is the camp? Do scouts need to pay attention to the map when they make their selection? Absolutely, they do need to pay attention to this. So Ash just pulled it up, so I've got to pull it up on mine too. But what I want folks to look at here is the kind of the center, the epicenter of camp during a normal day is around the program center. So Ash, if you'll zoom in kind of on the program center there a little bit. Maps are hard to read sometimes, so just a heads up. So the program center is right there where that fleur-de-lis is. That is where our Trail to Eagle merit badges are based out of. All of our handicrafts merit badges are based there. Some of our technology merit badges are there. So that's kind of like the epicenter of camp. So anytime you need to get to and from the program center is always a great kind of starting point, if you will. But one of the things that we really want to pay attention to is in the morning or first thing in the afternoon, we have our shooting sports merit badges on those first 2 hours, either the morning or the afternoon. And Ash, if you will, take us up to where shooting sports is at. So shooting sports is a good little hike up through there. Okay. So anybody that's taking a range and target activity, I need to work on my vocabulary, lots of years of saying shooting sports, but anybody that's at the ranges, I highly recommend that they do not take a session directly after this at the nature area. Okay. So to get to the nature area, you're walking all the way through camp, past the lake, past the arena, past Raven Scouts, and down into the valley. Okay. It is highly recommended that scouts do not do that at all. All right. They can get to the waterfront. I feel comfortable with that. Usually our instructors are paying attention to the time, trying to make sure things are smooth and that scouts aren't late for their next sessions. So I feel comfortable with a scout getting from one session to the other one of getting to the waterfront, but I definitely do not recommend trying to cook it and book it all the way down to nature. Okay. Now let me show you the devil in the details here. All right. If Ash, if you'll kind of scroll back to right above where the aquatics area is, just right above it. All right. There's this little place right there called the trading post. All right. And the trading post at session change time is a great spot to stop in, get a slush puppy, get you a Snickers bar, hang out on the porch a few minutes, and then next thing you know, you're 20 minutes late for your next session. All right. As much as I love kids going to the trading post and spending money, they need to get to their next session. So that's one thing to always keep in mind and talk to your scouts about. Hey, you need to get to your sessions on time. And that trading post can definitely be a bit of a devil for scouts really wanting that slush puppy on the way to their next session. So just something to keep in mind there, that it sits, kind of smack dab in the middle of things, and it's open during those times. So just something to keep in mind. All right, just to wrap things up, again, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. One thing I'm going to mention is if any of you guys have a Cub pack that would love to come to Cub Scout Resident Camp, our Cub Scout Resident Camp is June 11th through the 14th, and the theme is Rowdy's Western Adventure, and we're super pumped about that. If you guys have a pack, if you have families, we accept provisional families to come as well, that would like to come to Cub Scout Resident Camp, we highly encourage it. It's one of the best events that I think that we put on with everything that we do constantly. It is a great time. It's in the early part of the year. School's just gotten out, our staff's just getting settled in. It's a great time to come to camp. And we're working off of all of the new programs for Cub Scouts. So we have Cub Scout packs this year coming this far away from Florida. So anybody and everybody is welcome to attend. There's no minimum. I mean, a parent and a scout can attend. So we will make this work for folks, but definitely share this with your Cub packs, or if you're a Cub leader, we'd love to have you come out. The second thing is some of you, kind of a cool announcement here. Some of you may have noticed on our social media pages that we made a post about having some Mongolian scouts come join us for the summer. During weeks 2, 3, and 5, we will have a small contingent of Mongolian scouts at camp during that time. So it's really cool. Last year, we had just a really great international theme at Raven Knob. We were fortunate enough to have a troop come visit us from England, but also host the Polish Scouting World Jamboree at the end of the year. And so we're excited to continue international scouting at camp, because what it does is provide a killer opportunity for all of our scouts in attendance to interact with somebody, and Mongolia being a place that you are rarely going to meet somebody from. So we're very excited about this, and these folks coming to join with us. So feel free to interact with them while you're there, if you're fortunate enough to be coming one of the weeks that they're there. All right. So with that, with 2 minutes to spare, I appreciate everybody's time. Our next webinar will be on, sorry, I forgot to pull it up before I got here.
April 7th.
April 7th. All right. So ignore that. Let me change it. Monday, April 7th. Save. And bingo. There it is. All right. So Monday, April 7th at 6 p.m. One of the questions that we got was talking about, what about dietary restrictions? And I've had a lot of questions about, powering campsites, things of that nature. We will dive into a lot of those specifics once we get this merit badge registration stuff off our back and we're moving on to the fun stuff and those finer details. I will end with this. Make sure you check out. I think I've said that about 20 times tonight. Continue to check out. If you get into a pinch, call us. Please call us. Okay. We highly recommend on registration day that you call us at the Old Hickory Council Service Center. That number is scrolling below, which is 336-760-2900. It's the one coming across the screen right there. So we are very excited for all of you this summer. We are pumped to get there. It's starting to get warm out, but cold is starting to interrupt here and there. In 2 weeks, we have our staff training weekend where we've got about 150 of our best friends rolling in to make sure we're all on the same page and gas this thing up and hit the road. So again, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. If you need anything, reach out. And we will begin our Cub Scout webinar starting at 7:05. So we're going to take a brief break here, and we'll be back with you here shortly. Thank you, guys. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to our Cub Scout Resident Camp webinar right here live on YouTube. So appreciate everybody being here, and man, are we pumped for Rowdy Raven's Western Adventure. Every year we get to this same meeting and we're like, why didn't we plan to bring something theme related? So we were all just scrounging around looking for cowboy hats, and turns out we have none here at the office, and Ash has none in Murray, Kentucky. So pirate hats are indeed on deck, but no cowboy hats currently. So we're pumped for Cub Scout Resident Camp, which will be June 11th through the 14th at Raven Knob, which I think is one of the best times to come to camp. Definitely earlier in the season, usually a little bit cooler in the evening. So great time to be there. But we just want to go over with you a few details to make sure that we're all on the same page as we go into the next few months of what registration needs to look like and all of that process. One thing different from Scouts BSA Resident Camp that we're used to when it comes to Cub Scouts is it takes some things a little bit longer to pull everything together. And we totally understand that and happy to work with everyone on that process. So first thing we want to do is dive into it. And Rowdiest Raven, we're here for it. Let's go. All about it. So we want to just go ahead, hop on the website, and make sure that we are able to find all of the details that we need to when it comes to Cub Scout Resident Camp. So one of the things that we need to take a look at is go to the ravennob.com and click on Cub Scout Summer Camp. Okay. From there, you'll see again Rowdy's Western Adventure. And guess what? We are just under 100 days until we get there, and we are super excited. Here in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting our camp staff together at camp for the first time and making sure that we are all on the same page, making sure that we're going to bring the hype that is needed to run summer camp and be ready to rock and roll for when all of you come visit with us. So this page on the website is kind of going to be your home for all the details that you need for resident camp. So one thing that you need to do, if you haven't already, you need to go ahead and just let us know that you're coming. All right. This doesn't require any money. All I need is some quick information from you. Again, pack number, and council contact, campsite preferences, how many people you think you're going to bring. There is no holding you to anything. All right. And you're going to submit this, and it's going to take you like a minute to fill out. So if you haven't done it already, please go ahead and knock that out so we can get this stuff going in the right direction. It gives us an idea on how to plan, how many things do we need to order, all that kind of stuff. So the sooner the better, because right now we are in full-blown ordering mode for summer camp. So go ahead, fill out this document, and we'll be all on the right page. So next thing I want to show everyone is the next green button over, which is our leader's guide. So this is kind of your home for everyone to find the information that you may need as it relates to camp. So we're just going to go through this somewhat briefly to make sure that we are all on the same page. So real quick overview, again, the dates 11th through the 14th. Our camp fees are $205 per scout and $100 per leader. All right. We are looking for at least a $50 payment per scout by April 25th. All right. Just $50 by April 25th. And then the remainder come into the end of May. However, if you need to take a few extra weeks to get all your money squared away, that is perfectly fine. No worries there. All right. One thing I did fail to mention as we started this new webinar, as we rolled in from the last one, is feel free to use the chat feature. Put in your pack number and where you guys are from, your council. And if you have any questions, be sure to throw those in there so that way we can answer those live. All right. So going on down through here, Just a couple of important addresses there. If you want to mail us a check, please mail it to the Old Hickory Council at 6600 Silas Creek Parkway. So we will keep an eye out for it. One of the things that you need to know about the registration process when it comes to Cub Camp, unlike resident camp, there is not a huge demand or a huge rush to sign up for stuff. Okay. But if you wait too long and you want to put all of your Air of Light or Reblow Scouts in the same schedules, it can become a little complex. So the earlier, the better, as always. All right. So just at a big, long glance here, what are we doing before we get to April 25th? Well, first thing we need to do is we need to register, submit that registration form we were just looking at. All right. And go in and start to put in your names, start to put in the registration information, which I'm going to show you all how to do here in the next little bit. Just to scroll up. All right. Session registration starts March 25th at 9:00 a.m. So you can go ahead and hop in there and start registering your scouts. So between March 25th and your April 25th, that's a month. Here are the things that you can do. Go ahead, make your payments. All right. If you need any financial assistance, make sure to complete that and submit it to me directly. Make sure that we've got all of our t-shirt sizes for our leaders and our scouts put in. All right. And then make sure to update the rank of each scout's profile, which we will mention as we go through this. Okay. Do this before May 23rd. That is making our final payments and making sure all of that is squared away. Any final revisions that you may need to do, make sure that your t-shirts are correct because we order those about 2.5 weeks prior to your arrival. So making sure that those t-shirts are squared away are very important for us. All right. And, you know, it's pretty simple overall for our Cub Scout resident camp of getting this stuff done. Do this when you get to camp. You'll come to camp. You'll meet with your pack guide. That pack guide will take you around to do several things around camp, including a swim check if you need it, taking a pack photograph if you would like it, checking in with our administration team, whole 9 yards, picking up t-shirts, all sorts of good stuff. All right. One of the things that we continue to mention as we still get questions about it quite often is the required leadership when it comes to Cub Scouts, that we at least have at minimum 2 21-year-olds that are registered in Scouting America that need to be in attendance. So making sure that we have that taken care of. And then also know that any person that is attending, they have to be registered unless they are the parent or legal guardian of that scout that is there. Okay. They do not have to be registered unless they are not one of those things. So if you got a grandparent coming with a kid, that grandparent needs to be registered. It's a sibling that's coming with them, needs to be registered in the scouting organization. All right. So make sure to take a look through this and that we're keeping track with everything. You put in when you register your top 3 choices for campsites. Those are not guaranteed. What we do is we sit down and we look through it and make sure that we're meeting the needs of the individuals that are coming, but also meeting the needs of the campsites as well. So make sure to put those top 3 choices in there. All right. We've got medical forms, which we'll talk about a lot of our required documents later on. Transportation and parking, getting to camp. You'll be able to park your car near the campsite, not in it, but near it. But if you do have a pack trailer or troop trailer that's coming with you, you are allowed to leave that in the campsite. All right. We do not like driving through camp, though it does have to happen just the way our camp is designed. We have driving times and hours, so make sure to note that as well. Here's your suggested equipment list and what personal equipment should be brought for each scout. All right. So again, just going back over the check-in process once you arrive at camp, you're going to arrive to camp and be sent directly to your campsite where a pack guide will meet you. That pack guide will then lead you throughout camp to a regional check-in process. All right. You'll get your camp tour, pack photographed, and then we will go to supper. After supper, we'll have Vespers and a leaders meeting, and then campfire to round out that first Wednesday. All right. Check-in starts at 1 o'clock. All right, at camp, 1 p.m. and we'll usually take just about all afternoon. So the earlier you're able to get there, the better. We will send out a sign-up time for you to arrive. Those sign-up times will start at 1 o'clock and end at 3:30. All right. Just a couple of more details on some of those check-in pieces. Talking about tenting, your daily schedule. One thing to note, our daily schedule here, breakfast is at 8 a.m., which personally we love because we typically go to bed about midnight, 1 o'clock. So we love Cub Scout Resident Camp breakfast at 8. And then we have 2 sessions in the morning and 2 sessions in the afternoon. And I will explain more of that as we go through this on how that exactly works for our Cub Camp. Okay. But just take a moment, read through this thing. I promise you, if you were to read this, it'll make you much more prepared on coming to Cub Scout Resident Camp. But we're not going to go over every single detail here tonight. All right. They are there for a reason, for you to go through and take a look at it. All right. In the evenings, on Thursday night is our one open evening. We got a lot of things that scouts will be able to do around camp. And then let's talk about the actual program and what you're coming for the advancement pieces of it. So we have programs for wolf, bear, webelos, and arrow of light. All right. If you have tigers that want to come to camp, by all means, bring them on, but we are going to put them through that bear track. Okay. A lot of stuff they're probably not going to remember. It could change.
Wolf, not bear, right?
Sorry. Is it wolf? Yes, wolf, not bear. Sorry, I get those confused sometimes. We'll put them through that wolf track. So if you do have a tiger that wants to come, they're welcome to. We just do not have its own individual track. All right. But you can see here, when you sign up for the wolf and bear programs, what is going to happen at that point? You're going to sign up for it, and then we're going to figure out what your schedule is going to be, because all of the wolves and bears are going to attend these sessions that are listed here. Okay. So it just may not be all at the same time. When you register your pack, and let's say you've got 4 or 5 wolves coming with your pack, we are going to put all of those wolves into a walking group together. Okay. There could be a couple other wolves join in from another pack or 2 packs that will walk with you guys as your walking group. But we will figure out where you will go and how you will get there over the course of those 2 days. Okay. So that schedule is actually given to you at leaders meeting when you check in that Wednesday night. Okay. All right. So scrolling down, when it comes to our Webelos and Arrow of Light programs, this is more like it is for regular Scouts BSA summer camp. You'll go in here and you'll register for these particular classes. Okay. And we'll show you how to do that for them. Here's a camp map in case you need it, and our honor and merit pack awards, what you need to do to earn that while you're at camp to be recognized at the Friday night closing campfire. Okay. One of the things I will mention that we do for all of our participants is you get a walking booklet. All right. And what that does is it has a list of all these program activities and where they are taking place, has schedule, a map in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it to you. It has it's a little book about yay big. And we'll give you some rope. You can tie a paracord to it. You can hang it around the scout's neck, so that way they've got it with them at all times. Okay. Called our Cub Scout walking booklet. All right. So again, take the time to review this leader's guide to make sure that you guys are prepared as you can be. At this point, I'm going to pass this ball over to Ash, and he's going to talk about required forms that we need for all participants to be able to attend at Cub Scout Resident Camp.
Absolutely. I'll probably go back over to my screen if that's all right, which should be set up right here. All right. Thank you, Hunter. So on our main Raven Knob website, if you go to Cub Scout Resident Camp right here, it'll show you kind of 3 main things: resident camp registration, leader's guide, and forms, and some frequently asked questions. Even just clicking on this shows you that, as we mentioned earlier, Rowdy's Western Adventure is less than 100 days away. There are some things down here, such as a link to that leader's guide that Hunter was just walking you through, and just some information about registration. But you can get to the leader's guide and forms either from going back up to this menu or looking at this menu over here that talks about the leader's guide and forms. This is similar to the Scouts BSA page that we have with a lot of different things, but I'll kind of show you what these are. There's a few different forms on here. Our leader's guide there, of course, is there again. We should start by talking about the medical form. Most of you know about this already. This is the standard BSA medical form. Cub Scout resident camp is up to 72 hours in duration. Therefore, Part C is not required for that particular event. We only need Parts A and B to be filled out. So even if you do look at this medical form and open up the file, it has A, it has B1 and B2. This is the file that comes from National, so it actually does still have the Part C attached to it that requires the physical by the medical professional, but that is not required for Cub Scout resident camp, at least not that part of it. Over here, so we have the medical form, the leader's guide, of course. I also want to mention this one, the outdoor parental release form. This is required for all youth participants. This has to be signed and acknowledged by the parent or guardian of every youth participant that's coming. I'll show you that form over here. This describes some of the types of activities that take place at summer camp and essentially makes sure that parents and guardians are aware of what their kids might be doing while they're at camp. Our preference is that you actually attach this form to each individual scout's medical form. So you have parts A and B, and then you have this outdoor release kind of attached to it for each individual scout. That'll help our health staff as they're processing Sunday check-in paperwork. But this form does have to be filled out for every youth participant, whereas the health form is required for all adults and youth as well. Speaking of medical related things, there's this one here called the supplemental medical form. It says this is not required, but it's highly encouraged. I would recommend using this form if you have scouts with particularly atypical health situations, maybe some allergies or medications or things like that. Well, like I said, this is not required, but if you want us to be aware of particularly severe allergies, or if they have certain medications they take on a regular basis that they may need assistance with, or things that, over-the-counter medications that parents or guardians don't want administered to their kids, whatever that might be, this would be a form where you can let us know that information for our health staff to have on file. Now, as far as other forms sort of for the troop for the pack in general, there's actually two things I want to mention here. One is our special diet form. This is for participants, whether that be youth or adults, that have dietary restrictions of various types. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like here. This form asks you to essentially list the scouts or leaders in your troop that have some sort of dietary need and what those are, so our dining hall can accommodate you. Our dining hall is very good at providing meals that satisfy typical dietary restrictions, whether that be gluten-free or dairy allergies, egg allergies, vegetarian diets, things like that. If you have particularly unique dietary restrictions, that might be something to email us about, so we can help you find a solution there. But if it's something that's relatively common, like I said, gluten-free, vegetarian, etc., just put that on the form, and our dining hall staff will have food options available for those people when they come to camp. This form just needs to be done kind of one for the whole troop. If you've got, so you can just kind of fill that out and send that in to us just by emailing it in right here. I think this might actually link to an email thing, but you can just email it to us. That's fine. Another full pack related form is the swim test form. I do want to take a minute to talk about swim checks. In fact, if we go kind of further up on the page, there's actually a little link over here to it that talks about that, and maybe just talk about kind of aquatics in general during Cub Week. The way that the Cub aquatics programs are designed is so that all of the scouts of every Cub age can participate in the aquatics programs, regardless of their swimming ability. That's something that we pride ourselves in at Ravenob, is that we do have aquatics opportunities for everyone of all ages, regardless of what their swimming ability or how they are on learning how to swim, how that progress is going for them. As far as completing swim tests, that is something that, as you probably know, is traditionally done on check-in day upon arrival at camp. Sometimes doing that can add to extra hecticness and whatnot. And so some packs actually prefer to do their swim tests in advance prior to coming to camp, perhaps at a pool or a YMCA or something like that. If you want to do that, that's what this swim test form is for, which you can get more information there, or look down here where it says swim check form. And I'll show you that one here. This one describes what the swim tests are. These are the standard BSA swim tests for the entire organization. that lists what has to be done there, and you can essentially list the people in your pack and what their swimming ability is. This form, we do, oops, wrong way. This form, I can't quite see at the bottom there, but I can show you back on the other page. This form does require administration by someone who understands the Scouting America swim tests and what those entail. So as you can see here, it have to be administered using the procedures in the Guide to Safe Scouting or aquatic supervision. And these are sort of the people who are allowed to administer swim tests. Of course, the BSA lifeguard program, as many of you may know, has been retired. That the last possible certification date for that was this past December. So therefore, there will be valid trained BSA lifeguards in existence for the next 2 years. So that's still an option for now. We often get questions about, can a Red Cross lifeguard do our swim tests? I mean, yes, that's possible. Red Cross lifeguards are trained to safely supervise the water, but they also are not trained to identify the types of things in these swim tests that people with these Scouting America trainings may have. So my recommendation would be that you have someone who is Safe Swim Defense trained or aquatic supervision trained, or has one of those trainings that makes them more familiar with exactly what the skills are we're looking for in a swim test, as opposed to just watching the person swim up and down the pool or whatever it might be. So it's kind of up to you all on to whether you do this or not. And one more thing I'll mention on swim tests also is that for the purpose of Cub Week, and maybe this is just my own conjecture, but I don't think swim tests are necessarily that important for Cub Week. A lot of the Cubs are just kind of going around having fun throughout the day. When they come down for their scheduled aquatics programming during the day, they'll be able to participate regardless of their swimming ability. And we also have open boating activities, one of the evenings where the Cubs and adults can take out canoes and rowboats and things like that. We allow scouts of any swimming ability to go on those watercraft under safety afloat procedures. The one thing that passing a swim test does allow a scout to do that perhaps a non-swimmer or beginner wouldn't be able to do would be during those open swim times. They would be able to swim in the swimmers area in the deeper water. So if you have scouts that are particularly good swimmers and want to be able to swim in the deeper water during the free swim and open swim time, that would be a reason to ensure that they get their swim test done, whether that's with the unit before camp or coming and doing it on that Sunday during the check-in process. But if a scout hasn't learned how to swim yet, it's okay. They'll still be able to do whatever they're doing for the week. And if you have scouts that don't get the chance to get a swim test, they may end up still just having a good week in regard and things like that. So if the swim test is important to you or your scouts, then by all means, please do it. But for the purposes of Cub Scout resident camp, I don't think it's as necessary as people tend to say.
Excellent. All good, Ash?
I think so.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for that. All right. The last thing that we are going to touch on is understanding how to register our scouts for their sessions and making sure that we have access to Tenero and all that kind of stuff. So this won't last too much longer here. But if you don't have your Tenero login to our registration system, please reach out to us so we can get that information to you. Just shoot us an email at registration@ravendob.com. But to access Tenero, you go to ravendob.com in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to find a login button over here. I'm already logged in, so we're going to hit this button right here. And it's going to take us to a screen that is not going to look like yours. So what we are going to do is we're going to go to a screen that does look like yours. So when you log in, after you already give us that basic information from the registration form online, we will go ahead and plug that information in to Tenero here. So when you log in, it should look exactly the way that it does in front of me. So to access the event, we're going to click on session 1 2025. And from here, this is your event page. This is where you will be able to make all the changes and edits that you need to do for Cub Scout Resident Camp. Now, when you initially sent us in your registration, it did give us a few numbers in terms of what you expect to bring. I usually take that number and say, okay, that normally equates to, 12 scouts and 8 leaders, or, 4 scouts, 4 leaders, whatever it needs to be. But I normally equate that, and I usually come in pretty close. However, if your numbers need to be adjusted, just let us know, and we're happy to do that for you. All right. So what you're going to be able to do, excuse me, on March 25th is hit this manage spots button right here. You're going to click on it, and you're going to be able to see what spots you already have in the system. So if you already give me numbers, it's probably going to be like a 10 and 8 based off of what you told me. You said you're bringing 18. All right, we click, and here you're going to see that it's going to give us a balance. So when you log in, you're already going to see this balance. And what are we looking for by April 25th? We are looking for a $50 deposit for each scout. So if I were wanting to do that, I would just need to go in here, pay $500 for my 10 scouts that are coming, and be done. Okay. I'm not going to do this completely, but I'm going to show you how this checkout process works. So I got my $500 in there. I'm going to hit checkout. I'm going to scroll down. All right. So for our Tenero system, there's a couple different ways that you can make payments to us. You can pay a credit card online. All right. So you'll plug in that credit card information. The billing contact is up here. So please make sure that zip code matches whatever card you're using. All right. There's an e-check option for you to put in routing number and account number here. And then there is an option for you to mail a check to the Old Hickory Council Service Center. And the reason why we like checks being mailed is that we do not charge you, the customer, the fees that are associated with using a credit card or e-check. All right. For every time that a credit card is used on the system, it charges us, the camp, 3%. And if you use an e-check, it charges us 0.8%. So what we are encouraging is if you would like to send a check into our office, it helps us with the overall things that we do at camp, helps us pay our staff. It helps us, have better equipment throughout camp, have better program materials, and we don't have to spend as much on bank fees because that does nothing for us whatsoever. Like I said, unless you're a banker, congratulations, but it doesn't help us really at all. So if you want to send us a check, please do, and we will plug that in the system for you. All right, just because I don't want to process a $500 payment here, I'm not going to. All right, so the way you add your scouts in is that you will go down here and hit add participant. All right, you'll be able to add your participant. If you've been with us before, you'll see these scouts that are already populated in the system, or you can add a new youth in from right here, okay, or adult for that matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this youth in. We're going to say Nate Todd's coming this summer. There's a couple of forms that we do need filled out for each scout, which is a first name, last name, all right, gender, and shirt size. I do not need a date of birth for Cub Scout camp, okay? So first name, last name, gender, shirt size, and then you're going to want to scroll down here, and we want to know what is this scout's rank as of 6/11/2025. What will it be at that point? Okay, that's one of the things that we like to use. Please don't go in there and put Bobcat. Well, Bobcat's not really rank anymore. It's an activity, but make sure that that is up to date as whatever they are going to be as they start to move into the fall. All right, because starting in June, things kind of switch over. We move from one grade year to the next, so it'll be whatever they're about to go into. So if they've been a Weeblo, they're now going to be an Arrow of Light. All right, for instance. Okay, so we will need that up to date. So let's go ahead and change that Weeblo. So that way we got it. I'm going to hit next. All right, which you can barely see down here, and next one more time. And that's funny because I think I did this exact same thing last year. So give me 1 second, and we're gonna be right back with you. So I always forget before we do this one webinar to import the sessions, even though we have an entire day to do this. I always forget to do it. So in 2 seconds, we're going to have them all right here in front of us. Bingo, bingo, and boom, boom, boom. All right, welcome back. First thing we're going to do, we're going to hit the refresh button. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to go add our scouts in here. So we're going to hit the add participant. We're going to be adding Nate Todd. We've got all of his information there. We're going to hit next and next one more time. And lo and behold, there are our programs that we are going to sign up for. All right. So like I mentioned when we were reviewing the Leader's Guide, the Bear and the Wolf programs are set. So if you're just signing them up, you're going to hit that one option. You will not see these things that are currently left here. And that's done. Hit the Wolf program, hit next, and we're done. Okay. As simple as that. All right. However, with our Weeblos and Arrow of Light, the way this process works is we are going to sign them up for individual sessions. And you'll be able to go through here and pick what those sessions are. So let's say for Nate, our first session of the day, again, we have four. We are going to hit Arrow of Light Engineer. All right. So what that means is when you sign up for that session, this scout will attend the engineer session on both Thursday and Friday during the first session spot. Okay. All right. For the second session, we're going to go to Into the Woods / Into the Wild. So one of those days they'll be going to over the Into the Woods stuff, and then the next day they will go over the Into the Wild pieces of it. All right. So let's see here. Then let's do Ultimate Frisbee and BB range. So what does that mean? Well, that means we're going to go play Ultimate Frisbee on Thursday, and we're going to go to the BB range on Friday. All right. And to round things out, let's see what we got here. Knob hike and swimming. All right. So exactly what it sounds like. Thursday, we're going to hike the knob at camp. And on Friday, we're going to go swimming. Okay. But you attend these kind of same things, if you will. So for this particular scout, I would be going to engineer on Thursday and Fridays at the same spot. Same thing with Into the Woods and Into the Wild. Ultimate Frisbee and BB, those are two different locations. Same thing with knob hike and swimming. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and lock this in. One of the things you need to make sure you do is check out. Anytime that you've added a scout to the program is check out. And this is not going to let me check out without paying something. But once you pay, you hit this place order button and it will lock that scout's information in. Anytime you see something up here in the upper right-hand corner that's in the shopping cart, or you can see right here next to Nate's name, that shopping cart, that means that nothing is confirmed. It's just sitting there waiting for you to check it out. All right. Like something sitting in your Amazon account or cart. Okay. For your adults, very similar process. I'm going to add myself in here. What are the things we need? First name, last name, gender, shirt size. Okay. For our adult leaders that are coming for resident camp, we need a phone number. All right. And that is all that you will need. Okay. Hit next. Yep. I am taking an adult spot. All right. And there's no sessions to sign up for adults. So we're next and we're done. So we've got me added there. All right. But you may want to bring a den chief, which is always welcome. So what we need to do in here is go ahead and add a den chief spot. All right. Adding that den chief spot. All right. They are charged the same amount as our adults leaders are. They are not charged a youth fee. So what we're going to do at that point is hit this plus button, and we're going to add our Arrow of Light to the system, our den chief to the system. Okay. All right. And that is done. So, and that is pretty much the basis of the Tenero system. Very simple in the grand scheme of things, especially for Cub Scout resident camp. Couple of tools that can help you in here is through this reports button right here. If you click on that, there are several options that pop up, such as an invoice. If you need to pull an invoice, give to your treasurer, a participant roster, your class schedules, class schedule by person, spreadsheets. What requirements did we complete while we're there? This is something you can come pull later on. So you've got those options right there in front of you. All right. And then should you need anything, need any help, always know that we are there via email or phone call for you to reach out to us, and happy to help any way we can. Ash, Wesley, anything that we need to add to?
I think you hit everything on the head there. So
Excellent. Ash, anything?
I don't think so.
Excellent. Sweet. Well, super easy. We're going to get done a little bit early, which we certainly love. But again, if you haven't already registered, go to ravendob.com, go to Cub Scout Camp, and go ahead and register your pack. So that way that information is in there. Go ahead and get that done. We'll get it added to the system. If you need your login information, feel free to reach out to us so we can get that to you. And other than that, we are, again, super pumped for Rowdy Raven's Western Adventure. Our staff is really excited about this. They've been asking for it for a few years. So we're pretty pumped about it. Finding Bigfoot last year was a good time. We're still looking for him, but we're really excited to break out the cowboy hats and the boots and see what kind of trouble we get into during Cub Scout resident camp. So if you have a neighboring pack that you'd like to bring with you, by all means, bring those folks with you as well. We always have room at resident camp to grow, but nonetheless, it is this. You will be attending the largest resident camp in the state next summer, or this upcoming summer. So it'll definitely be a good time. So thanks for joining with us. We appreciate everything you do. And again, if you need anything, reach out. Take care. Bye.